And we are back, and it is time for the ElseWords. This is the main discussion topic of the show, because we haven't been talking for 3 hours or whatever.
There's more.
Yeah, this is it. It's just one story, and it's actually
the big one though.
Yeah, this is the big one. This is the Netflix co-founder has a crazy plan. Pay $10 a month, go to the movies all you want. He did this before. So the company is called Moviepass, and they did this before. And this is Mitch Lowe that started this out. And when he started the company, it was hitting at like the gym membership type show or type deal. So $30 a month, you go to movies as many times as you want. So you go in my area, you go to 3 shows. You've already paid for your month subscription for the service. But he was like, okay, we'll make more money off of people spending the $30, not doing anything with it. Maybe seeing one movie. They announced that they're lowering the price. They're still, and also I will point out, they're not a publicly traded company. They're in the article that we've got from Bloomberg. They're talking about IPOing and all this stuff. The problem I have with this, and I'm curious for you guys, this doesn't seem like a winning formula. Like I'm trying to figure out, because for Michigan, out in the boonies, Michigan, $9.50 for an evening ticket is what it is. And I understand, Corey's probably paying like $20 for one ticket out in California and stuff like that. But it's I think the average is like $12, I believe, for a ticket.
Yeah, I think if you're not going during a matinee, I think it's around $12.
Yeah. So what do you guys think of this? As an idea, let's start with that. What do you guys think of Moviepass as an idea?
I think it's 10 years too late.
Yep.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody cares anymore. I don't care. I wouldn't do it. I mean, yeah, I don't care. Give me
any movie. So it's $10 a month.
Give me a way to watch them at home. Let me stream it opening night. Get rid of the movie theaters. Don't get rid of them. Whatever. Some people like the experience. It's a family night for some people. That's fine. I took my daughter to see Guardians 2. Unless you're talking about a massive spectacle like Star Wars, or it's just something like Warcraft, which I just, I don't want to wait to see it. I don't care. I'm not going to go to the theater. Give me a way to watch it at home. Give me a subscription service at home. I don't care. Make me pay $40 to rent it. I would pay $40 to watch it once streaming opening night over going to a theater, because after your tickets and the concessions and everything else, you get 4 friends together, you pitch in $10 a pop. That's your movie night right there. These days, the vast majority, and I feel fairly safe saying this, the vast majority of people that would care enough to pay that much to watch it at home probably have at least a 1080p TV that's decently sized, if not a 4K. You can pick up a 4K for $500 these days. They're not a commodity anymore.
But you still also have to have a good enough streaming system set up for it too, which many people in this country do not.
If they have a streaming, you mean like
internet?
Yeah. No, I get that.
Are you talking pay-per-view through cable or something that's different?
Yeah, no, that's completely true. I mean, then give me a way. So when you rent a movie on iTunes, you pay your money, you download the file. The file is accessible for 24 hours. Let me do it that way. Do it through iTunes. I don't care. I mean, obviously I don't care because I'm the Apple fanboy, but do it through Amazon. do it through somebody, but give me a way to watch it at home. It's the same. I mean, I won't tangent. I know it's already late. It's the same. I had this argument recently with comic books with somebody. My big contention with comic books is that I shouldn't have to pay the same price for digital as I do physical, because I'm not actually buying a product. It doesn't cost them any money for that, but I get that they do it because it keeps the brick and mortars in business. That's fine. And it's the same thing with the movie theaters. You have millions upon millions of dollars worth of revenue that stands to be lost if you give people the chance to watch it at home. The money goes directly into the pockets of the movie producers or the production companies and goes away from the theaters, which I think is good because they get more of the money, which they're the people actually making the product. It's the same mentality of why I won't buy a used game at GameStop, because I'm not paying GameStop to make the game. I won't buy a used title because GameStop gets all the money. So more of the money goes to the developers. It's more convenient for most people. Again, the Moviepass is 10 years too late. Give me a way to watch them at home, because if not, then people just pirate them.
So the other part I will add. The other part. Well, then I'll add, because this might help. This might affect it. As Beat put out in the chat, this doesn't include 3D or IMAX, and it also limits these screenings you can do to 1 a day. So does that change your opinion, Amy? Before we get into what your opinion was.
I don't go to the movies. I go once, maybe twice a year. I pay for the ridiculous price to go to Lux Level, where I can have my assigned giant armchair seat in the balcony above all the common people. And that's it. I do not enjoy going to the movies. I haven't since, high school. And that was just to get out of my house. So,
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. I mean, like, that's who you're going to get. You're going to get, like, it's only good for people that just want to get out of their house.
The high school and college kids.
Yeah.
It's be their target market.
Well, I mean, Mark Rajak, who's a movie review podcast friend of ours, he has been doing the Moviepass thing for quite a while at the $50 level to get this kind of deal. And seeing it drop to the $10 level may encourage more people. The problem is that I can't think of months where I have more than one movie that I'd want to see in the theater, or they're all bunched up in a couple of months, and then for the rest of the year, there's fuck all that I want to see. And so it really would depend on the output for what these films are. And I agree with Nate and Amy that I would rather watch stuff at home, and the theater experience for me isn't hugely enticing. I don't mind going to see a movie in the theater. I enjoy it. I usually go by myself. So that's the other part is, do I get a subscription for my wife on the occasion that she might want to go see something? Because I know we're going to wind up seeing it in the theater. But most of the time, it's going to be me watching Marvel films. It's going to be me watching Star Wars films. And unless it's Guardians of the Galaxy, it's not something that she's really going to be into. But if you're a movie buff, this is amazing. Or if you're someone who's on the cusp of being a movie buff, or if you're in New York and you've got a theater that's right down the block from you or something, and that's how you get your entertainment, I can totally see that. It's just that for people like us, who are people who are more dependent on devices, more dependent on streaming, more dependent on having a huge variety of entertainment available to us, so what is this really selling us on? I don't think it's going to be something that we're going to jump at. But I do see that there are quite a few people out there, maybe in more rural areas, that could love something like this. But it doesn't include popcorn.
Right.
Yeah, that's the other part is, like, it's definitely getting, like, to where the movie theaters would only be getting their money off of the concession stands, which is also where it leads into the other part of the article as an update. The AMC movie chain, which we just got, like, as I've shared with this on the show before, my town, we have 2 movie theaters that are right across the street from each other. So it's really fun when they both have the same exact movies out. It's just like, oh, well, they might have the 3D one, and oh, they have the 3D in this movie and stuff like that. But the one that I haven't been going to, they just got bought by AMC, which is hilarious because it's still, the sign outside still says GKC, but they're like, no, we're owned by other people now. AMC has said that they're pursuing legal actions for the Moviepass to not be allowed there. And I honestly, I look at this like, and as Evan asks, would this get you to see more movies you would not otherwise see? I'm coming off of, with the disposable income, which is on a brief hold while I'm while I'm in the new job. I was seeing every Thursday I was seeing a new movie for the past month, because it was oh, well, this movie came out and this movie came out, and oh, I didn't get a chance to go see this, so I'm gonna go see Baby Driver 3 weeks after it came out and enjoy the movie, even though there were 2 assholes behind me who wanted to talk and be on their phone during the movie because they didn't hear the goddamn M&M's commercial where it's like, shut off your phone and shit like that. Sorry, I'm not bitter at all, because it's like I'm right there with you, but at the same time I look at this like, I've got a 40-inch 4K TV behind me. I don't have a way to where I could really watch something like Guardians of the Galaxy or Wonder Woman on a massive scale. So it's like, it's going to be go down to the movies and watch it there with friends that you meet there, because I'm much like Corey, I will end up going by myself because people will be like, oh, I don't want to go see that. It's like, y'all suck, I'm going to the movies. I'm going to see Baby Driver or whatever. I
kind of wish I had a little bit more. Like, I mean, the majority of my movie watching is on an iPad with AirPods, like whatever. Like, yeah. I've got digital 7.1 surround sound headphones for my gaming. Give me AirPods for the movie. I don't care. No, like I said, like, I mean, I have the 4K. It's a 4th monitor for the computer. It very rarely gets like big budget movies on it. because I'm not going to sit in my room for 2 hours and watch a movie. I'm going to watch it at work when I'm doing something else. Like I'm going to watch it on the go. It's kind of the same reason why I don't read books. I listen to audiobooks because I can listen to an audiobook while doing something else.
That to me is part of the reason why I go to the movies, is because aside from if you do wind up in a room full of assholes who distract.
Hey, I'm here, aren't I?
But yeah, I know. In an empty room, you're the asshole. I find that I am focused on a movie because I'm not looking at my phone. I'm not in my house in front of my TV, and I'm like, oh, I'm going to get up and go get a snack or make something or do dishes while this is playing. I'm literally paying more attention to the movie, and the experience is better because I give more of a shit at that point than I do watching it on TV. In my living room, I've got cats that I want to pet. I've got a wife that I want to kind of ignore. I have all these other things that are in my way of enjoying this. Or I get pissed because I'm watching something and I'm thinking my wife should be really into this, and then she's fucking texting on her phone the whole time. I'm like, God damn it, this is a really cool part. And then she'll ask me, what happened? Fuck if I know, because I'm mad at you right now.
So really quick, because I noticed this Sunday when I watched American Beauty for our movie podcast. Do you find
Brandon's dick at the bottom of the popcorn?
Jesus, you and the gay jokes.
That's not a joke. That's an indictment.
Anyway, no. So with American Beauty, it's a great movie, right? So what was the last thing I watched at work before that? I think I watched the Underworld series. So and with that, whatever, it's vampires fighting. So it's Romeo and Juliet with vampires and werewolves. So I'll watch it. It's in the background. It's for background noise. If I hear a fight scene, I'll look up, but whatever. It's just kind of there for noise, right? With American Beauty, I found myself even though I had paperwork to do and whatnot, I found myself watching the movie. I'd only ever seen it one other time. And I found myself watching the movie because I wanted to see all the visual cues. I wanted to see the movie. So even when you are distracted, if it's a good quality piece of entertainment, it itself will pull your attention. So maybe that's a good way to gauge. If you have nothing else to focus on, so you are focusing on it, and you wonder why you're at the newest Twilight movie, it's a good way to kind of gauge the value of it because it will pull you. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I will say this because I've coming off of the movie, seeing a movie every week thing. It's one of those things I would still see all the movies that I've seen. I would see again. I would go see The Big Sick again. But that's one of the things I like the fact that I saw it first in theaters, because even though I was only in the theater with 4 other people, a Middle Eastern guy, and then 3 blonde, 2 blonde chicks and a brunette, and it's that added to the movie because they're laughing at different points than me and him are laughing at. And it wasn't even it wasn't about race or gender. Well, it's just you're looking at it, it's well, they're laughing at this, and then something the next second something else is said, we're laughing. I went and saw that at the opening day where they had the extra bonus stuff at the end. Me and him are sitting here watching that and all that together. We're laughing laughing our asses off at the stand-up stuff that they aired. That's something I wouldn't get because I'm not going to invite complete strangers into my house to sit here and watch the movie.
I have a really quick question, money-wise or pricing-wise, only because who is it behind the Galactic Network tag?
B.
All right. Was saying he's the sucker and he's buying the UHD Blu-rays. Okay, so I just have a quick question, and we can kind of relate this to the price of the Moviepass, I guess. So I don't buy physical media. It takes up too much space, and it comes out 2 weeks later. Okay, so when we did a little brief movie news segment on Movie Busters before we got into American Beauty, and we were talking about how Wonder Woman got a release date, right? Yep. $45 goddamn dollars for the 4K disc. Why? Who would spend that?
Wait, just the 4K, or is it going to have special features?
It's 4K, and then it's the 4K Blu-ray disc and the regular Blu-ray disc, and it's $44.99. I was are you fucking kidding me?
Suggested retail price is not what you're going to see when it launches out. Now it may bump back up to that at some point when they want to make a scarcity, and they're just everybody who bought it's already got it. But if someone really wants it and they missed it, now they'll pay the $45 for it. But more often than not, you're going to see it hit the week at Best Buy and at Target and online, and it's going to be more in the $22 range than it is the $40 range.
Okay, I was saying because with digital, not only can I get it 2 weeks early, usually 3 weeks in the case of Wonder Woman, because it's coming out in like a week on digital, and then like not till the 19th on physical, 19th of September. But it's 19, like I can pre-order on iTunes right now. It's $20. So not only is it 2 or 3 weeks early, but it's, I mean, according to suggested retail price, it's $25 cheaper. And with iTunes and with Amazon, so for the anti-Apple people, like you get your extras, you get all your like whatever it comes with for commentary and things like that. The only catch is they haven't got like Apple doesn't have 4K on their iTunes yet because Apple's slow with some things. But like even on Amazon, even though they stream UHD, like you can't buy UHD digital movies, which doesn't make any sense.
And Nate, you just a few minutes ago said that you would be willing to pay $40 to watch a new release movie in your house one time.
A new release when it's in the theater.
But how different is that if you didn't go to the theater to see Wonder Woman in the first place? For you, it's a new fucking release.
See, he has a point in there because I know people who they don't go to the movies. They wait for at the time it was DVD. They would wait for the DVD to come out and then they would go buy it.
Because at that point, so how much would you pay for a pay-per-view? Before the network, we used to pay $50-$60 a pop.
Yeah. But now again, it's like $10 a month and I'm getting 2 pay-per-views. Fuck yeah.
You pay the same thing for a boxing event. You pay the same thing for a UFC event. That's a live sports event. It's a little bit different. You know, you have one.
Which is weird because you know what you're going to get and you know it's about as fake as Wonder Woman is, but you rate it differently because you get your value system.
No, because you get one opportunity to see it live. Other than that, it's recorded. Whether you see Wonder Woman in the theater or whether you see it 4 months later. For me, my big thing with that is I don't like not being I don't like being behind the 8 ball there. It's the same reason like whether it's the 7S or the 8, like I'll have it launch day. Like I don't like being behind on things. I like being up to date. If it's something I care about, Wonder Woman, I didn't bother seeing. I'll get it on digital, and if anything, just because my daughter wants to see it, because I don't particularly care. But like if it's a movie I care enough about, like again, Star Wars. Let me pay the $40 and I'll watch it at home as opposed to in a theater. But most movies I would wait. I'm not saying I would necessarily do that. I'm saying if you want my money, I'm more likely to spend $40 to watch it at home than $40 after concessions to go to a theater.
And that's the other part too, is that we're talking about $10 a month to be able to watch all the new movies that come out that still require you to leave your home to go see them. That there's probably not going to be enough to, it's not like you're going to be seeing a movie every goddamn day, or at least not unless you're watching the same movie twice over, at least a couple of times. And comparatively, $10 a month gets you tons of content at home on your TV where it's convenient that you'll access all the goddamn time, be it a Netflix or a Hulu or an Amazon Prime. And so is $10 enough of a drop from the 50 that it is now to make it worthwhile to the people who didn't already see the value of what it was?
Yeah. I mean, again, it's there for the people that it's there for.
I see this working for like, because I thought about it when I put this, I'm like, okay, this is something we can get a lot of stuff out of. I saw this and I'm like, okay, yeah, I would theoretically do this. You know, that would then be me watching 4 or 5 movies. But that's because, you know, living in a smaller town, I don't get every single, like if you look at IMDb's new releases, I don't get every movie. It's the people that live in LA or, you know, even the bigger cities around the country where they get the more independent movies. Like they got The Big Sick a month and a half before everyone else, you know, before it had its nationwide release, or even you know, more obscure movies like A Trip to Spain. That's not going to be airing out in here. I'm gonna have to drive to Ann Arbor or Detroit to go see the movie, in which case I'm going to a movie theater I know nothing about. So then it's like, you know, then it gets to the thing of like, okay, who's that person? Who's that person? Like the paranoia starts kicking in, especially if I'm going to see a later movie. It's like, okay, where'd I park my car? Oh, who's that? Okay, am I going to get mugged here? And even though I'm a big guy, whatever, and I still get those thoughts because I'm a pansy and stuff like that. I have. There are many things wrong with me, and that is one of them. It's like, okay, I'm going to start freaking out now. I think this would be too much because there is, unless they were just saying, okay, every movie theater is going to get every release. So, you know, we get in the smaller towns, we get the little, you know, more obscure films that might not make a lot of money. But I turn and look at this, I'm like, so you look at, for my market, $10 a month, that's one movie. So even if I just see one movie, I'm breaking even, and they're not losing money. If I use the crap out of it, I'm like, and even use and have other people claiming to be me, and they're going, you know, like, so like, oh yeah, I want to go see Wonder Woman. All right, I'm going to see it opening day. You can see it Friday. You can see it Saturday. You can see it Sunday. We're all good. You don't got to worry about paying. Here's the pass. Then I see that being a problem. I honestly, I don't think that Moviepass is going to be going on for much longer. At least as a nationwide thing, it might be this little niche working in more, bigger city movie theater chains and not across the country.
Yeah, I think that there's something to it. I think we're the least likely to be the audience for it, because we already have our time split between so many different forms of entertainment. To feel like you have to dedicate yourself to something to get the value out of it, where you also have to leave home and go be somewhere else for a while, unless you have this escapist feeling that you want to get out of your house, which is fine, which is absolutely okay. For the most part, I don't think it's going to make sense to someone like most of us.
Yeah.
Right. But there is a time in my life where it would have been the greatest thing in the world.
Oh yeah, definitely. I do agree that this is, too late. And it's also, we're seeing, one of the parts in here, it says that the movie theater prices have, the box offices have been doing terrible, even though the percentages is going up of the box office totals and stuff like that. But that's mainly because when you're going, you're paying more per ticket. But I don't know.
Well, wait, one more thing though. One more thing that I didn't even think about until just now, because I'm looking at Nate's bald head there. In my lifetime, if you've ever had your parent use the movie theater as a babysitter, drop you off at the fucking movie for a couple of hours to get you out of their hair.
Okay.
Again, Nate, $10 for 2 hours is a fucking steal.
Potentially. But now I am a little bit of a paranoid person.
Right. No, and the world is a different place now. We used to be able to release our kids into the wild and expect that they would make it.
I know two of you don't. Corey, you don't have kids, do you?
No.
Okay, yeah. So there is no way, and now granted, I know my oldest one is 6, but even at like 10, there's no way in hell my kid is being left while I'm off doing something else for 2 hours at a movie theater.
But what about 14?
Then they're going on their own.
Right. Well, but that's what I'm saying though. Is 14, it's an encouragement. It's like dropping them off at the Chuck E. Cheese or dropping them off at the trampoline place.
But then it's not my concern, because at 14, they're a year away from a worker's permit. They can pay for their own goddamn movie pass.
So, and Corey, I will also say this: you have never worked in a Target, because where the movie theater is right across the street from where I work at my Target, that's where everyone goes. That's where all the kids go, because guess what? It's free babysitting.
Right. No, I've worked at places that are pretty akin to Target, and I've worked at places that were next to kids' tube town places and stuff. I completely understand. I worked at comic stores where, hey, I'm going to drop the kids off at the comic store and good luck.
Right.
My game store is next to a grocery store. So
yeah,
they drop them off, they go to the grocery shopping, and they come pick them up.
Yep.
See, that's not bad. And that's the other thing too, is I think movies are great, but I think there are more creative, productive things, tabletop game stores, comic book stores, hell, the arcade, for ones that still exist. I think that's better than just, I don't know, whatever. They can certainly become pricier than a movie theater, but
yeah,
I think they would be.
But Nate, you did just start a movie podcast.
I love movies.
So you and Brandon, if you wanted to do some current movies more than just the.
Okay, now see, I was gonna mention that, other than the fact that we're going a little, like, I don't know how long you guys want to go, but and I talk a lot. No, that was my only the only. Like the 180 opinion to that is, like I saw that and I'm like, okay, that would be kind of cool for the movie podcast. But again, of the percentage of people that go to the movies, how many of those people go because they do a movie podcast? Like, it's a very small niche group,
But that would be your audience.
Potentially. Well, no. Okay, yeah, right. I get it. But I'm just saying, like, as the podcaster, a big part of that, it's kind of like, okay, so with the wrestling podcast, for example, right? And I'm not bringing wrestling back up, but we ended up adopting that to where we watched current pay-per-views, which was cool and good fun. But where the love of that podcast started and where we wished it had gone back to, but it just, again, scheduling, we started that podcast watching old pay-per-views because that was the fun of going back, the nostalgia. And I think, and that's a big motivation behind the movie podcast, is going and watching either old classic movies that I never got to see because I'm uncultured, or watching movies that were great. Like we were supposed, like for this coming Sunday, it was supposed to be Gladiator, but it's not streaming anywhere. Gladiator is a movie that I saw in theaters several times. I'm sure we'll end up doing The Dark Knight at some point. I saw The Dark Knight. I basically lived in the movie theater the weekend that Dark Knight came out because Heath Ledger as Joker is magical. So, and things like that. Like, again, there are rare situations, but yeah. I was talking from a purely a consumer wanting to entertain, not a content producer perspective, because the majority of the people that are looking at that are people that are consumers, not content producers.
Well, the interesting thing will be to see there's the company AMC who doesn't want to participate. If it takes off, they're screwed. If it doesn't take off, all of them are screwed. Because that means no one gives a shit about going to see movies in the theater enough to pay for one movie to get as many movies as they want for a month.
And see, that's the weird part for me is I could understand, you know, an Alamo Draft House or, you know, one of those type of movie theater chains where you're going in and even like the one that Amy was talking about where you pick your seat and you get your seat high up in the balcony where you can look over all the people as they're watching the movie with you. I could see those type of theaters saying, no, we don't want to do this because they could lose a lot of money. Now, as Beat put it earlier, you know, this doesn't include 3D movies. This doesn't include IMAX. So there are those that'll be like, oh, well, can we include the boutique where, you know, you pick your seat, you know, maybe it's like a Dolby Atmos theater or something like that. Limiting it can be what could make this work, but also could be what could make a lot of foolish subscriptions.
Correct me if I'm wrong, and I certainly don't mean to extend this out any further, but I swore I read something that said the reason it went down to $10 was because they got a new investor, which allowed them to do that, and that the movie theaters would still be making their regular ticket price.
Yeah, So give
a shit,
because even then, that seems like such a small thing. Because we're talking about a company that, you know, with
but they're getting regular ticket price. Like that's.
I can tell you why. I can completely tell you why.
Why?
Because it devalues the movie theater experience overall. So at some point, this will have to go up in price, and then they'll have a middleman between them and actually getting the money. Because just like selling apps through iTunes or Amazon or whatever, or selling books through Amazon, they're always going to get their cut after that point. They're never going to be able to charge full price for movies again because people are just going to say, well, I don't get it. I've been paying $10 a month to see movies for years, and you're telling me that I'm going to have to pay $10 for a fucking movie? No, fuck you. I don't see why it would count.
It's not so much that it's a bad idea now, but it's the potential of
the long term.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And it's the same clawing and holding on to things like the music system did when iTunes came about.
Right.
It's like, we're not going to fucking change to embrace this.
And I also look at this as, you know, you look at some of the other apps that came out, you know, 2-3 years ago, where they were getting investors to keep themselves afloat to pay for these other things, to where, you know, this investment thing is only going to work. So if you get every household in America to do this, and then they're, you know, to subscribe to this, to where they get, you know, the $10 a month, but they're going 5 times a month, that's still a lot of money coming from this investment group. Eventually, they're going to run out. And
yeah,
so it's one of those things like,
have gain from it.
Yeah, it's one of these things that I don't see a way Moviepass could become at $10 a month could become feasible.
I can tell you exactly what it's going to do. It's going to do like Netflix did. Netflix started out shipping DVDs and stuff, but what they did is they put their stickers on every goddamn DVD player, and you could sell subscriptions through Best Buy. So Best Buy is like, hey, we're going to sign you up for Netflix. What does that do? Well, in the long term, it means that people will rent DVDs from Netflix instead of buying them from Best Buy. Now, Best Buy doesn't sell DVDs that much anymore. And then after that, it's like, well, Netflix says our real business isn't even DVDs. Our real business is streaming. So you're already paying the $10 a month. We're going to give you streaming as well as the DVDs, so you can start watching our other content and stuff without having to wait for the disc to get to you. And then eventually, the fucking DVDs are gone. So Netflix doesn't have to pay the DVD fees anymore. They're just streaming the content out. It completely usurps an entire business into this new thing. So eventually, this Moviepass thing will go to what Nate and Amy are talking about. It's going to lead off of, yeah, go see the movies in the theaters for $10 a month, as much as you want. And then it'll eventually be like, why see it in the theater? You know, why not get to watch it at home for $10 a month? You get to see the new movie. And it will be this other business will crawl out of this, and the theaters will just lose out.
Well, again, the analogy there, not to bring it back up, but to tie back to wrestling. So, he'd asked in the inner chat there, like, what did you pay for a pay-per-view? And, when I was a kid, it was $29.99. You get your monthly pay-per-view. And even then it wasn't monthly. You had your 4 big ones. And then they came out with like the in your houses or whatever. So it wasn't until around like the mid 90s that it became a monthly thing. And it was $30 a month. And he was like, well, what's the replay value? There was no replay value. It was a live sporting event. It was 8 to 11. $30, and then it became $40, and then it became $50, and then you had the brand split, the original brand split back during the Attitude Era, and you had 2 pay-per-views a month for $30, $40, $50 a piece. Now you have.
Did they do 2 a month? I thought they alternated the months.
There was a couple that they did big. Maybe I don't know. Maybe I'm thinking of the current brand split. Anyway, whatever.
The current brand one does twice a month.
So now you've got the network where you pay $10 a month. And not only do you get the entire back catalog of WCW, ECW, WWF, WWE, WCCW, like you get decades of wrestling, as well as every new pay-per-view for $10 a month. So now you're getting 2 pay-per-views a month. You can still rent them from your cable company for $100 if you want both.
Which I'm going to stop you right there. I'm surprised that still happens.
It still happens for the same reason Corey was talking the bad part of my idea with theater. You have people who can't stream it.
Yeah.
It's one of those things. It's just the natural progression of things.
Yeah. And also that was the funny thing I will put with the whole WWE Network thing. And then we should probably wrap up because we just lost Amy because she had to take off. When the WWE Network came out, that was one of the things that they played. They even had the whole like cards thing for the commentators where like you could pay $70 or $69.99 for WrestleMania, or you could go to the WWE Network and pay $10. Now tell me, why wouldn't you do that? They totally
blackballed the cable companies.
Yeah, I would love to see where this goes. I don't think I'm going to be an early adopter, in all honesty.
For more on this Galactic Network podcast, go to gncast.com. That's GNCASTS.com.